Hello, Aries. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, as you can tell, we are outside once again. Listen, it has just been a busy couple of weeks here, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I mean, the whole summer, really. Let's be real. The whole summer. I happen to have a day where my daughter is at camp. My husband is filming in the studios. And I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll just go outside. Maybe I'll just, I like being outside. I know how some of you have seen my pictures that I've been posting in the post section and telling me you look happier when you're outside. Well, it's true. I like to be outside. I'm a Virgo after all. So Aries, thank you for being here with me. It is so lovely to be able to share your energy, to, sit here and commune with you. We have today the Hermit energy, which this time of year seems so on point, right? We have been through this long summer, or if you're in the South, you've been through your long winter, right? And, you might be feeling a little worn down. You've packed it in, done all the things, and now we're getting ready to start preparing for the harvest. Start preparing for, the fall, the spring, the planting in the South. And, school starting, school ending, all kinds of stuff going on, right? And so, yeah. I don't know. It's a time where I don't know if you're like this. It seems like you might be, just based on the card. That when things begin to change, when you are kind of organizing your life, reassembling things, changing schedules, routines, it maybe is a little easier when we do kind of go into that hermit mode, right? We kind of relax a little bit on the socializing. We maybe, we do our domestic things, but we're not like deep cleaning every day like we were doing back when, the season was starting. But we're starting to gather and we're starting to get our things ready. The trees are already starting to turn a little bit where I am at. Just that kind of yellow tinge to that deep, lush green. And we know we're marching towards colder days. And if you're in the South again, yes, hotter days. All right, let's turn this thing. Let's see what's going on. This is so loud out here. I'm sorry. I forgot that there's nothing underneath. Okay, Aries, let's go ahead. We're going to take a look. We're gonna see how this looks, and I am filming on my phone, so I'm hoping that from what I can see here, it looks like it's in focus. And we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna freestyle it. I like to kind of just do things on a whim sometimes, and see where it goes. And so if you are interested in supporting the channel at all. Woo! All right. The wind is a-blowing. My goodness, it was like super calm out here. Where is this wind coming from? And you can hear the cicadas, right? Anyhow, if you want to support the channel in any way, and I don't mean monetarily, but yeah, like to get us into the algorithm, get the videos getting pushed out into people's recommendations, liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving comments, whatever. Smiley face, heart, your life story. I'll read them all. Now my necklace is getting everywhere. Okay, let's take a look. I want to start right in here. Okay, so to me, the first thing I'm seeing is it looks like S and E Okay, so maybe this is, well, southeast, or it could be initials. It could be partial word or letters that are important in some way. Okay, but we also have, I keep seeing this as the name Emma. E-M-M-A. Emma. Emma. So if you know an Emma, if there's an Emma in your life, that seems fairly important. Very specific, right? Emma's not a super common name, not a really obscure name either. We have a person here, as you can see right here, and we have what looks like a ram right in front of them. So I almost get the feeling of having to kind of herd your family in a way. I feel like you maybe come from a family that has multiple Aries people. But I feel like it's like you are the one who is really good at communicating with everybody else. You're really good at like getting everybody on board. Like if there's a family thing that needs to be, everybody needs to come, we need to sit down, we need to have a conversation, or, mom really wants everybody to be at, whatever holiday, and, half the time nobody calls to say they're not coming, and they end up not showing up, and it's, it becomes a heartbreak. And I think for you, you're kind of in this position where you're like, okay, hey, I'm calling everybody up, I'm making sure that we're all going to be there. I'm making sure that you're really going to show up this time. I'm making sure that you know exactly what time it is. You have no excuse, right? Oh, you don't have money to, make a dish to bring. Okay, well, I'll make it for you. You can say that you brought it, I feel like you are the one that is like always going so far out of your way to make sure that everybody is happy, especially. And it does feel like the matriarch of your family. I feel like mom, grandma, sister, whoever it is, this is like your person in life, okay? This is like the best friend. Growing up, you maybe had some turbulence, of course, who doesn't, with their mom. But I feel like as you got older, once you were having your own kids, or, you went out in the world, you saw how difficult it can be to live. I feel like you started to really understand, well, maybe some of the struggles that your mom went through. And you kind of understand her more. Now, I feel that as she's either gotten older, or maybe she has already transcended her physical form, you have taken the role of maybe not the head of the family, right? But you orchestrate a lot of stuff. You're the one that's organizing, putting things together, and hunting everybody down to make sure that they're there, that they have the info and all of that. You're really good at that kind of stuff. And I think that your mom, your grandma, whoever it is, they know that, they knew that. And that's kind of why you've been trusted to be the one to kind of continue any kind of traditions, or making sure that the family doesn't like kind of spread to the corners of the earth, as soon as people start getting older, right, and passing on, and you get into those next generations that just don't go out of their way to see one another, kind of thing. And I feel like for you, you've spent a lot of time chasing people down, making sure everybody has the time, the day, they can get there. You set up car rides, all this stuff. Now, we also have, it looks like the house. We also have, it looks like the letter M, and we have the letter P. We have a bird flying over here. And I'm sorry, this is like a weird setup, so I'm not used to Okay, so we have the house, the M, the P, the bird, and then over here we have a rabbit. Okay, we have that rabbit, we have that fertility, that creativity, that desire to, really share. To share your, whatever it is that you have inside of you, that thing that just wants to get out. It is like, being in labor, right? At some point, especially, okay, so when you're like the first time mom, right? And this is the only one I know about because I only have one daughter that I carried to the end and had a and had her, right, the old-fashioned way. And so I only know what it's like to be a first-time mom. That's what I'm trying to get around to. But I imagine, it's always going to be scary, but I imagine you go into the second time, the third time, at least with the illusion that you have some idea of how this is going to go, right? So I feel like for you, there's this feeling of getting to, now if you've had a kid or you've been around somebody who has had a child, right, far along in pregnancy, you start to get to a point where you realize, like, this kid's gonna have to come out of me. It's not any longer this idea of like, oh, I'm gonna, I don't know. I guess for me anyways, I just thought, like, I'm gonna be pregnant forever. I did not necessarily think too deeply. I prepared myself, but I didn't think super deeply about it. Having children, the process of delivery especially was a mystery to me because I don't have a mother. At least my mother, she passed away when I was young. I was 12 years old, or 11 years old actually. And, I didn't grow up in a world that was like full of women having children or children really at all in my personal life. So I don't know. It's all a mystery to me. So there is this frightening feeling that you have right before you know you're going to have a kid, right? You don't know really how all of this is going to happen. How is it going to go? But your body knows, right? Your body knows what to do, usually. Not always, but usually. And it's kind of like anything else. It has to happen. You're either going to go along with the ride and let this thing happen and try to assist, the miracle, the ceremony, the rite of passage that is occurring, the passport through portal and manifestation and all of this, right? You can either assist that or you can, it's going to drag you. It's going to drag you right along with it, right? So I almost feel like with this rabbit energy, it is the same kind of force, right? The tremors of something coming. And I don't necessarily feel like this is a child that is going to be born, but what it does feel like to me is your creative process has ramped up so potently that you are like being pulled at the heartstrings. I mean, really, this feeling of like, I have to create or I can't go on. Like, I have to do this. So it is. I feel like you are in a creative prime right now and prolific. This goes along a lot with this idea that we have the Hermit card as well. Because when we, or at least I'm talking for myself, I guess, when I get into a creative space, I often don't want to be around anybody. I don't want anybody interrupting me. I don't want to hear anybody else's voice or music or their ideas or anything. Now, I'm not saying I'm like cruel about it, but yeah, I will sequester myself so I can go and do the work that needs to be done. And unwitnessed, right? There's a whole other aspect to that. If you're doing it unwitnessed, it is completely different than if somebody is watching you or you're filming it or whatever. So I do feel like you are going through this kind of staging process, but also like you're running your first experiments, right? Like we're doing right here, trying these outdoor readings. You are going through the first phases of setting this thing up, figuring out, how do you like to do this? You know, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to render this thing? And so I do also feel that there is an emphasis around the home. It does seem like this is your creative epicenter. So I do think that this is a good time. If you don't have a space in your home for your creating, make one. Okay, I don't care if it's a whole wing of the house, or if it's a room, if it's the garage, if it is simply, like a board that you put on your lap while you're sitting in bed and you draw. You know what I mean? That might be your creative space. It does not matter. It is different for each of us, right? Make sure that you have that. Okay, so it got too hot. It overheated outside. Plus, I was looking at the video. The framing wasn't the best. I'm sorry. So we're talking about the creative space. We're in my house now. We're inside, and it is kind of echoey. We're in the living room. So I know this is a wonky video. I appreciate you all. So let's go ahead. We're talking about the creative space, the impulse of going kind of hermit mode while you are creating, right? Having a place that you can easily access when you have those kind of creative impulses, the inspiration rises, and you don't want to have to go look for your notebook and your favorite pen and, get your record playing and incense burning and however you like to do it, right? You want to have all that stuff set up already. You want it ready to go. So I think that is going to be one of your big tasks right now, is setting up a creative space for yourself. Now, you might already have one. You might already have a few of them. As somebody who, I guess I consider myself a creative, right? As somebody who always has quite a few places within the home that I'm working on projects, right? I can tell you that sometimes they get a little disorganized, inaccessible. You're like setting, Amazon boxes in the middle of your recording studio, or your paint, where you paint, or, do woodwork or whatever. And next thing you know, like that's where, like the stuff from the last dinner party you had, and you set everything, and it piles up, right? Or things get misplaced, or you've been working a lot in there and you're just setting stuff down and it's starting to feel chaotic. You don't even want to look at it. Okay, so here is the time. Go in there and declutter. Go in there, get it cleaned up, wipe it down, dust, put things back where you want them to be. Get the shelving, spend the money on the freaking shelving. There's never been a time in my life where I regretted spending money on a bookshelf, or, like one of those cubby hole things where you can get the drawers that are like the fabric stuff. Like, listen, that's like my level of budget. You might be scoffing at me, this uncultured lady here talking about, cubby holes or whatever. But listen, use what you got, what's accessible to you. Don't keep waiting. Get the thing. Make that place like your little safe haven, right? Make it your sanctuary. Make it your temple. So that's a big thing. Now, we also have, and I'm looking at this now, it reminds me very much of, well, almost feel like this is like going camping, like a map. That's what the first thing I saw when I picked this bowl up, right? I see that we have people over here. It looks like we have one person, two people, and something in the middle. Okay, so I feel like mutually building something together. Now, I was looking at it here, now it's getting all dry, so it's gonna shift. We have like a building, a pond. And for some reason, a person, it looks like singing or making announcements for some reason. I almost wonder if when you were a kid, you went to camp and it's like one of those romantic memories, you know, that you just go absolutely nostalgic for whenever it comes up in your mind. So I almost feel like there's this feeling, this sense of wanting to recreate that experience. And so maybe, yeah, going to camp. I know that a few years ago, I remember seeing, and this is maybe like pre-lockdown world and all that, but John Waters, if you know who that is, shout out to you if you know. Shout out Baltimore. And shout out to me mama from Pecker. She always go with the little ventriloquist Marys and the full of grace. Oh, I love John Waters. Anyways, he had a camp, like an adult camp, like sleepaway camp that he had like set up and stuff. I don't know if they're still doing it, but my God, that sounds like the coolest thing ever. Honestly. Now I'm realizing that I think this is filming the wrong way. Oh, goodness. I think it's okay. I don't know. You guys, I'm just going to go with it. Hopefully I'm not too off the mark on here. I can't really see. I got to get something set up to do these, like, not in studio. And look at this tea. I used a different kind of tea. It was like some kind of hazelnut. Oh, it was really good, but it's a lot darker than the tea I usually use on the dish, the actual tea. Usually it's pretty light. I don't brew it or steep it with really hot water, so it's pretty light usually. But we have the number 7. Also, I feel like we really must have somebody with like an E name that keeps coming up. And I want to ask. I'm interested in this. And it's an energy of an older feminine person. And I want to ask, like, I can't tell if she is somebody who is in your real life or if this is like an entity or a person or a being, an ancestor that has been with you. It's hard because I feel like they're disguising themselves. It feels like they present themselves in one way, but behind that is like a completely different person or personality and I feel, and it's weird because I feel like it's somebody who presents themselves as being much more scary than they actually are, if that makes sense. And I do. I'm just going to ask. I'm just going to go through these. We're going to stop. This is how I pull my tarot cards, which I'm sure that, like, for my personal readings, I'm sure. So we have the Tempest. Of course, it's one of the ones specific to this. What do they do with that? The World. So we have the Windstorm, we have the World, and then we have, yeah, the King of Cups. Okay, so we have the Beloved. So I feel like this is, It's a person, an entity that seems a lot tougher than they are. They're very loving and childlike in the interior. I almost feel like this is somebody who maybe passed away young, when you were young. They were old. They were an older person, maybe an aunt or an uncle, your parents' generation possibly. But they've always been with you. They protect you. I think that it's almost like an energy around you of don't mess with them, don't mess with this person. And I feel like there has been some forced change, and that's what we get with the Tempest. The Tempest is a windstorm, and the world here, obviously, you know, it's the universe. It is your whole reality that is around you. And so I do feel like, yeah, just a lot of change. Like all of a sudden there's a storm coming in, everything changes, and the beloved shows up. And that's what the King of Cups is for me, the beloved. So this tells me that it's kind of almost, I'm not saying that for sure that it's like you're in a relationship and then you meet somebody new, but I feel like you are devoted to a relationship, and maybe you're even like divorced, or they've passed away, or you know, it was a bad breakup, you were heartbroken, maybe it was like somebody, your first love, you never got over it, you have stayed single throughout your life kind of deal, whatever. Okay, this newer person disrupts all of that. And I feel like this is like the first time in a long time that you are willing to open your heart. Okay, so the beloved comes along. And you have this being that is just running offense or defense constantly, keeping people away from you. But this person gets through. Now, also the number 31, very important in this cycle. 7 and 31, I would say. Okay? Where are we going to go? Let's do a couple lucky numbers. I'm sorry, this video is just, I think it's going, because when I tried to restart the video, I think it went into, what is it called? The horizontal? No, vertical. It went from portrait, or it went from landscape to portrait, and it should not have. So it's gonna be a ghetto video, but thank you. Thank you for watching. Okay, let's do our lucky numbers. Number 3 is our first one. Number 4 is our second one. That one went way over under the couch, I think. Let's see. I thought it was going to be smooth. It's a 2. It's a 2. All right. Yeah, I don't know about this video. Hopefully it'll come out. We'll see. All right. Aries, I love you. Thank you for being here and experimenting with all of this with me. I really, really appreciate you. I love you. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. If you have a prayer request, definitely put it in the comment section. Or you can email me over at ulaishere@gmail.com. Yeah, I think that's it. All right. I love you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk soon. Good night.